So if we know that by asking about credit, money, talking about buying something today, can put up an additional defensive field for our customer and will help them have maybe a negative perception of us, or to make it harder for us to move them to the next step, it makes no sense in doing it. Right, because before somebody makes an educated buying decision, what do they need? Information. But think about what most salespeople do. They're out there using what's called trigger words like buy and today. Now here's why on all of that paperwork y'all have, on those word tracks, you have no words of buy or today on there at all, do you? Do you know why? It's because think about those of you who have went and bought before. Do you know what customers do? When they're in the car getting ready, hey look man, we going up there, we looking. We ain't buying nothing today. Remember what we said about 8 out of 10 people? They would have told you they're not buying anything today. So people psych themselves out. We really just want to look, we want to learn. No matter what they say, no matter what deal they offer, we're not buying anything today, right? So now they get a chance and they're engaging with you. You're greeting them. And then early on in the process, you say, hey, which one of these, are you looking to buy something today? Guess what happens? As soon as they hear that, it triggers. It brings up that reminder. Oh, I said I wasn't going to do that. You're the one that brought it up. They're not buying today. So and then it's irrelevant. It's just like somebody going out and asking the customer, hey, how's your credit? And how much money do you want to put down? Are you thinking about buying something? Think about that. When a person goes out and asks somebody about their credit and their money, in the first 30 seconds, they're putting the cart in front of the horse. And let me explain why people believe doing that will help them. Why do you believe a sales rep will go out and approach a new customer on their lot or on their showroom and ask them about money or credit in the first 30 seconds? What do you think they're trying to do?
Thank you so much for checking out the video. If you haven't already, please hit that like button because it really helps the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscription and make sure that you click the notification bell so you'll be updated whenever I release new videos. And last but definitely not least, make sure that you check out the Selling for Success sales training portal. It has sales training courses, audios, videos, manuals, everything you need to catapult your sales results to a whole new level. So remember, check out sellingforsuccess.org, the sales training portal. I'm Brian Maxwell saying again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you at the top.
See if they qualify. And what else are they trying to
take
do?
advantage.
They're trying to hurry up, right? They're trying to, you hear people say, I don't want to waste my time, so I want to see what's going on first. But here's why that is wrong. When you go out and you ask somebody that question, they don't know your name, you don't know theirs. You're asking them about credit and money, and let me explain to you why that's irrelevant when you're greeting somebody. They can have a 900 credit score and $200,000 in the bank. But if your dealership does not have the vehicle that they're looking for, it's irrelevant. Or if they don't like you or the members of your team, guess what? It's irrelevant. So if we know that by asking about credit, money, talking about buying something today, can put up an additional defensive field for our customer and will help them have maybe a negative perception of us, or to make it harder for us to move them to the next step, it makes no sense in doing it. It makes no sense in doing it. Okay? At the end of the day, it's all about being outwardly focused and staying away from trigger words. It is irrelevant if they're in to buy anything today. Now, of course, the objective is to move them from one step to the next. When you go out to greet a customer, the only thing you're doing is making an introduction. The only thing you're selling that person on is moving to the next step, which is what? The qualifying step, right? So you go on just on the introduction, on the greeting, you're just making the most impactful greeting you can. And you're selling them on the next step, which is sitting down where you can ask them questions to gain information. Then you're selling them on moving to the next step, which is selecting a vehicle. Then you're selling them on the next step, which is presenting the vehicle. Then the next step, which is the demonstration drive. Then the next step, the service tour. So as you see, it's nothing that you should be afraid, like I gotta go out there and close. No, the only thing you're focused on is that step. And then from that step to the next step. And if you keep that in mind, it should take the pressure off you. It's like trying to grab a Big Mac and eat the whole sandwich in one bite. It's not gonna happen. You'll die probably, choke on it, okay? But if you just take a bite here, a bite there, eventually you'll digest it. It's the same thing in this. When people go out there and in the first 30 seconds feel like they're gonna close the deal, they end up losing everything. But if they just realize that sales is about a lot of individual and compartmentalized successes that have to take place. And if you just make sure you succeed at each step, when it gets down to the step for them to make that decision to buy, you've made it easier. Because you cannot force somebody to buy. There's nobody that puts a gun in anybody's head or a knife to their throat or holds them ransom to buy. It's a voluntary thing, right? So we have to give them a good enough reason to be willing to share with us their personal information, to give us an opportunity to see if they qualify. And that is dictated by the way we're able to help them and the information that we can share with them. And remember, in order for somebody to make a buying decision, they need the information first anyway. So it's just like, let's say a customer, when you go up to greet them, and while you're going to greet them, they say, hey, well, no. Hey, man, listen, I'm not buying nothing. I don't want you to waste your time. How could you respond? And remember, there's no wrong answer. As soon as somebody get into that, like, oh, you can really hit them with a, oh, you know what? Oh, I'm glad to hear you say that because I was not in the selling mood anyway. But which one of our vehicles can I get you some information on? We can just make it an information day like a lot of other people do. So what do you want some information on? It's okay, right? Think about it. They say, I'm not buying. Oh, cool. I totally respect that. Well, what would you like some information on? We can at least make it an information day. That way, in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need. Now, let's think about that. When you go to greet a person and they hit you with it, they try to hit you. Remember, our greeting is welcome to. So we're not asking, can I help you and how you doing? But let's just say, even throughout our greeting, they just interject and say, hey, listen, man, don't want you to waste your time. I'm not buying anything today. You should immediately accept that. Oh, I hear you. Well, let's do this. Let's do what a lot of people do. Let's just make it an information day. That way, at least in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need. Now, let me ask you a question. How do you believe that will make a customer feel when they show up on a dealership? They're expecting, you know how people say, they expect the vultures to pounce on them. They're expecting you to sell them. They tell you, hey, listen, I'm not buying that. And you say, oh, that's cool. Let's just make it an information day. A lot of people do that.
They're going to be taking it back.
Why would they be taking it back?
Because you're not pouncing, you're not pressuring them. It's literally you're like, okay, I didn't want to sell today anyways, but let's give you information. They're like, wait a minute, what's the catch?
Exactly. They're like, whoa. Now, think about what else was said. And that way, let's make it an information day. That way, in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need. Now, let me ask you this question. How would they feel about it when they hear you even say, that way in the future, when you're ready, you got everything you need?
You're doing them a service.
That'll take the defensive wall down too?
Yes.
Now let me ask you this. When is the future?
It could be tomorrow.
5 seconds from now, 10 seconds from now, 1 minute from now. Like I told y'all, I don't believe in lying. And what we're saying is the facts. I'm going to get you this information so that in the future, when you're ready, you got what you need. But while you're here, I'm going to be doing everything I can to give you a good enough reason as we move through the future to do this. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's about. But in the words that we speak have a huge impact on how that customer perceives us. So if they perceive you as being non-pressuring, if they perceive you as genuinely being caring, because it's like, well, let's just make it information day. That way, when you're ready, you got everything you need. If that helps them say, oh, this is different, and to proceed with you, you still go through your process the same exact way because they're there with you. And how do you know when a customer is ready to leave?
When they get to leave?
Say it again.
When they get to leave?
I want y'all to hear that. When a customer's ready to leave, the way that you know it, they leave. There's no chains on them to the chairs. So if you start trying to rush and start trying to do all of this stuff, you're the only one that lose. Because every step you cut out, every chance you miss to build value, every chance you miss to justify that price to that customer is another reason why they want it for less.